Hey, everybody. Happy New Year and welcome back to your Dawn of Autonomy podcast. I'm Dawn Zoldi, your host, CEO of P3 Tech Consulting, publisher at Autonomy Global. And this year we are streaming to the Autonomy Global Network as well as several other social media channels. So if you haven't signed up for our YouTube channel there, go ahead and do so. We are so excited to kick off this year with the theme of 2026 Look Ahead, thanks to our sponsor, Carahsoft. And we have, I'll call her a complete pro, Lacey Wean from Carahsoft on the show. And we will have a special guest appearance from Craig Abod. He is the fearless leader of this amazing company. And we're going to be talking about that in a second. But Lacey, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So for those that are wondering what the eyeball is behind me, I'm actually at the Palms Casino and Resort here in fabulous Las Vegas. Lacey and I are both here for this conference called Edge. It used to be CES Government. And we're here also for CES 2026, which is taking up the entire city of Las Vegas. So we have a ton to talk about in not only what we're seeing here, but what we're looking ahead to for this whole year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and kick it off. But before we get to Craig, Lacey, I want to very briefly have you introduce yourself to our audience for those that haven't seen you before.
Yeah, great to be here again, Dawn. Thank you for having me. So good morning, everybody. My name is Lacey Wean. I'm one of the senior sales directors here at Carahsoft. I've been with the company for 14 years, and I oversee a number of our technology verticals, including all things geospatial, space, and autonomy and robotics. So excited for our conversation today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Lacey, I think people, especially those that follow me and go swim in the same circles and go to the same conferences, are much more familiar now with Carahsoft than they were a couple years ago. But can you kind of give us that 30,000-foot view of exactly what the company's mission is?
Yeah, absolutely. So Carahsoft as a company, we've been in business since 2004, and we are really focused on bringing technology and bringing innovative technology to government and to the public sector. So federal, state, local governments. So we work with hundreds of technology manufacturers to help with their go-to-market strategy, help sell those products to government customers, and in turn help government agencies buy those products they're looking for easier.
Awesome, awesome. And that's what we're going to be talking a lot about today, folks. So, kick back, grab a coffee because there is so much going on in terms of the federal, state, local, tribal, and territorial government purchasing power this year, and kind of what the trends are. And that's really going to be the focus of the show. But let's go ahead and roll that video of Craig to kick us off.
Dawn, thank you for having me. We've seen a lot of changes across the government technology landscape in 2025, and that's going to continue in 2026. At Carahsoft, our role has always been to help our government customers find great technology, acquire great technology, and implement that great technology. This mission has never been more critical. It's no secret that technology is moving faster than ever, but so are the expectations of our customers. Agencies are looking beyond innovation. They require speed through procurement, implementation, and proving measurable ROI. This acceleration isn't happening in a vacuum. Recent transformation efforts like those highlighted in Secretary Hess's November remarks and the President's management agenda updated in December demonstrate the urgency around efficiency, partnership, and performance. The government is signaling loud and clear they need technology and industry partners who deliver. They want the most effective procurement and acquisitions possible, and they want to leverage technology to build government fit for the 21st century. So what does that mean for 2026? We are seeing important funding around cybersecurity, cloud, AI, autonomous technology. Agencies are prioritizing investments in technologies that enhance mission resilience and operational efficiency. They're focusing in on modernization, secure digital infrastructure, and capabilities that enable faster and smarter decision-making. Industry is listening to our government's needs and is aligning with these priorities, providing solutions to deliver speed, scale, and measurable impact. Carahsoft recognizes these needs, and we are helping our partners and customers accelerate the adoption, streamline acquisition, and deliver innovation at scale. Whether it's autonomy, geospatial intelligence, or AI-enabled systems, our goal is simple: make it easier for the government to find great technology, acquire great technology, and deploy technology quickly and successfully. I'm excited for Lacey and Dawn to dive deeper into these trends today, where autonomy is gaining real operational foothold, how agencies are adopting, which technology will rise to the top in 2026. Thanks again, Dawn.
All right, excellent. That gives us the 30,000-foot view. And, I have to kind of foot stomp this. When you're running a 21 billion, is that what we're up to now, Lacey, annual company?
Yep, we just hit 22, going into
Oh,
year 22. So really excited.
okay. End of year 22 billion. To take even a couple minutes to provide that kind of overview for this podcast is a really big deal. So we're super appreciative of Craig Abod for taking the time to give us this overview and set the stage, Lacey, for getting granular about what we can expect to see in AI, autonomy, and robotics going forward. So let's go ahead and dive in. Look, there's a lot of people out there, Lacey, that want to do business with the federal government. We've seen a lot of executive orders, a lot of policies, a lot of announcements over the last year. And we'll cover some of those. But for businesses, if they're trying to sell to federal, let's just go with non-defense agencies first. What type of autonomy work is really realistic right now?
Yeah, so from what we're seeing federal procurements moving faster than ever, both on the civilian and the defense side. But specifically when it comes to the civilian agencies, they're moving forward, but we've seen them moving forward mostly with existing programs and existing contracts currently. So what we're seeing are really data-centric, geospatial analytics, software sustainment, and integration work that's on tied to already funded missions. Some of the new hardware starts are a little bit harder, but if companies are really focused on solutions that improve efficiency, compliance, or decision makings within the current systems, those are really a great area to focus. So if you can help an agency do more with what they already have, you're in a much better position.
Well, yes, of course. And then, we've seen we did see a couple new starts. Like, so in May 2025, right, the FAA announced this big contract for the air traffic control system, what they call the BNAATC, right? Within 7 months, they released and closed that solicitation. I mean, that was lightning speed, wasn't it?
It was absolutely, yeah. The fact that it was done in 7 months you're absolutely right. It was lightning speed to get that contract awarded.
And Peraton, that was, I think, awarded on December 4th. And Peraton, they're one of your partners, right? One of your many partners at
Yes, they
Carahsoft.
are.
Yeah, very, very cool. And I know they're looking at all kinds of processes. And there's a FAR overhaul, the Federal Acquisition Regulation overhaul. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're seeing there?
Yeah, there is. So the government is actively accelerating the processes required to acquire and implement new technology. So there are several key initiatives that have been introduced to support that effort, including the FAR overhaul that's in the works. And basically what that is there's tons of language and prescriptive rules around how agencies buy technology. So the government's doing a big overhaul to basically make it a more streamlined process, practical buying guides, and just cutting some of those administrative delays to, again, ultimately enable faster technology procurement. And we're already seeing some of the effects of that.
Well, that 7 month acquisition cycle was pretty crazy. So I mean, that's very welcome news, right? And I think when we talk about the FAR, that bridges not just the civil side, but the defense side. So that's a good bridge to transition and talk a little bit about what are you seeing on the defense side in terms of, the acquisitions and where are the opportunities?
Yeah, so in comparison to civilian defense is comparatively more protected. They're still proceeding with some caution, but we're seeing a lot more consistency tied to funding that's related to readiness, sensing, autonomy, and operational data. Most of our defense customers seem to be a little further along in integrating some autonomous technology into their mission. So any of these efforts that are supporting that deployment, interoperability, and scaling, they tend to move a little bit faster than the civilian space. So for example, there recently was the SPEED Act. It's streamlining procurement into effective execution and delivery. This was an act that was put in place to restructure the Department of War's requirements around pipeline. So it was really put there to help introduce rapid feasibility reviews, decision deadliness, shrinking timelines from nearly like 800 days into a matter of weeks. So in doing so, it's really there to help just accelerate the acquisition and deployment of some of this critical technology.
Speaking of critical technology, I mean, you have to be living under a rock not to realize that drones have changed the face of warfare, right? We've seen this now. What did I just hear from the Edge stage? 5, we're going to year 5 with the Ukraine-Russia wars.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, what? But, the drone, injects into that war and how it's changed warfare and what not just the United States, but coalition and other militaries around the world are looking at. But, we saw this drone dominance executive order last year. As you said, the kind of the FAR, the acquisition changes that are in the pipeline, all about speed and scale, all about bringing commercial drones on board to, and I'm sorry, Lacey, I have to call it the Department of Defense because I'm retired Air Force and, I think, and I'm a lawyer. So I'm just going to call it DOD. You can call it DOW. It's all good, tomato, tomato. But tell us a little bit about what you're seeing in terms of the drone sector's push for speed and scale on the DOD side.
Yeah, so like you said, we've heard some of it here this week at Edge too, and
Yep.
specifically talking about this like American Drone Dominance Program, led by Pete Hegseth and his efforts. It's a really bold, accelerated initiative, ultimately to help to help the Department of Defense rapidly scale the military's capabilities with some small, really cost-effective drone capabilities. There's about a $1 billion investment over the next 2 years to really help companies move at a rapid pace and help the government move rapidly to procure, hundreds of thousands of small drones that can be integrated into their missions.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little sideways here, Lacey, and you can give me your thoughts or not. But at the same time that we're having this kind of drone dominance push, we also at the end of the last year saw a ruling come out from the FCC about all foreign drones and components. And I think it's really interesting because I don't know, and maybe there is, and I'd love for somebody in the audience to chime in. Is there one single American company that doesn't use one single foreign component in their drones? Now, under this ruling, there is a DOW or DOD exemption process. What that's going to look like, we don't exactly know. But, there may be some turbulence in the force as we're trying to push forward with this. I think it's like a $1 billion investment in small drones for the DOD. Now having to push things through exemptions potentially. So I think it's going to be a really interesting area to watch. Would you agree, Lacey?
Yeah, absolutely agree with you, Dawn.
Yeah. And so looking back, last year we talked quite a bit about the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, or the OBA. And, there was a lot of fanfare about that and funding going into robotics and autonomy. And I think a bit into counter drone. We're seeing more of that. We'll talk about that in a second. Where do we stand on the OBA funding and kind of how that's been executed, or really what we can look forward to in 2026?
Yeah, so the OBA funding, it seems like it really pushed a shift towards this outcome-based buying. And it's still very relevant, still very much in motion, but it is evolving. So agencies seem to remain very interested in paying for results rather than just paying for tools. But they're under constrained budgets, and they're often applying that mindset to, again, existing programs first versus new starts. But where vendors and where technology companies can clearly articulate, hey, this is the expected outcome, these are the anticipated metrics, and really focus on that mission impact, they're better positioned than those just leading only with the technology features first. But again, overall, I think it's still very much in motion. We're just seeing it continuing to evolve a little bit.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And then specifically within autonomy and drones, whether it's in the OBA context, whether it's in this drone dominance context, where are you seeing agencies actively buying versus waiting and seeing?
Yeah, so where they're actively buying, and I think where they're buying the quickest, is when the technology supports a clear mission. So think of things like inspections, monitoring, mapping, situational awareness, disaster response. Like, we're seeing a lot of traction in these types of programs that they're already operational or they're close to being operational. They may require a large upfront investment, but if they're in some pilot phases and getting things moving, that's where we're really seeing some of this autonomous technology integrated quickly.
Well, and I mentioned counter drone, Lacey, and I think this is just an area that's booming. First of all, at the end of last year, we had the Safer Skies Act that was part of the National Defense Authorization Act, and we'll talk a little bit more about the NDAA and some of those provisions here shortly. But finally, our state, local, tribal, territorial law enforcement are getting some of those counter drone authorities that we've been clamoring for years. As we heard from the stage and edge, and as we're looking around, a couple big things happening this year, right? The FIFA World Cup. By the way, everybody, I was at the Lenovo keynote at the Sphere last night. Lenovo is partnering with FIFA for smarter AI. They launched a whole bunch of products I'm not going to get into right now. But, the millions of people, not just watching it remotely, but attending live across Canada, all across North America, Canada, the United States, and Mexico, significant security issues across all of these, right? It's America's 250th birthday next July. Big deal. And I feel like there's one more really big thing. What am I missing, Lacey? It's the FIFA, it's the birthday, and there's like a third ginormous thing happening this year.
There is. I'm trying to remember which one which one it is.
Oh, the Olympics, duh.
The Olympics.
The
Yes,
Olympics
yes.
is not happening. I don't think it's happening this year. It's 2028.
Yeah.
But it's in the pipeline, right? And people are preparing now for that, like in LA specifically in 2028. So all of these things are brewing at once. And as you look ahead and you see these things, what opportunities do you see? Let's just talk about FIFA World Cup as one example.
Yeah. So especially like with the FIFA World Cup, it's there's a lot of opportunity, like you said, Don, when it comes to CUAS and specifically these like drone related security systems. So massive focus for all of these events around safety, infrastructure, national security, and just efficient technology to help support these big events. So like FIFA, for example, I think there's about 500 million in federal grant funding that's going to the host cities to help support these counter UAS systems. So there's a program that's there. It exists. It was designed specifically to help these local agencies in those 11 cities with drone detection, jamming, mitigation systems. It's tied in as well with, there's a White House task force that's collaborating with Drone Responder and the Commercial Drone Alliance that's really ultimately there to help coordinate these efforts and make it a more just coordinated, cohesive process, really focused on the security piece of this.
Yeah, airspace security and obviously security on the ground is going to be significant for all of these things. Where does, first of all, NASPO, it's an acronym, NASPO. Yeah. Explain what that is and where it fits into this bigger picture.
Yeah, it's a great question, Dawn. So NASPO, it's a cooperative purchasing procurement vehicle. So it's an organization that provides a contract so that state and local governments can easily and quickly procure the products that they need. So it's a front of mind contract for any of these cities looking to buy autonomous technology and counter UAS technology and jump over some of the hurdles to get it quickly and get it implemented. Carahsoft holds a NASPO contract, and we have a number of these technologies and products available through it as well.
So if I were, for example, the city, the city of LA, and I wanted to procure some kind of autonomous technology, whether it's, counter UAS or some kind of a system that you have in your portfolio, another company is in your portfolio, how would that work as a practical matter, like using NASPO?
Yeah, so NASPO already has, there's pre-negotiated terms, which crosses a big hurdle in the government procurement cycle. There's also pre-negotiated discounts. So it ensures that the government's getting best value, getting the best price. If an agency is looking to buy, they could reach out to Carahsoft for a quote. We provide them a quote. And again, it's a pretty streamlined process there to help them get the technology they need. Or if there's companies too, on the other hand, where if you're a technology company looking to get your products on NASPO or make them available to these organizations, that's also something you can reach out to us to, and we're happy to help with.
Yeah, I don't know if Lacey, towards the end of the show, you'll be able to like talk about some of the companies you guys have on board, but I want to transition to AI, right? Like AI has been something we've been talking about, and man, that Lenovo keynote last night in a way was a little bit frightening to me because of this smarter AI concept, personal AI, enterprise AI. Like, let's connect everything and track everything and like anticipate answers for you. It's like, okay, I could see where in the government there's like risk aversion there, but in terms of, and by the way, I think there's over 3,000 AI companies here at CES on the show floor. I mean, that just kind of gives you, in fact, they opened up the Fontainebleau for the first time, and they have AI and a quantum section. That's a first for this year. So obviously, physical AI, it's kind of the new thing, right? Where it's just like senses the physical world and kind of anticipates things. I have a really cool article, by the way, coming out about Kubota tractors and Autonomy software and how they're doing that in vineyards and other high value crop areas together. But man, my head's exploding when I think about AI. So in terms of AI, data, software, all this integration, is it easier in a way to move forward with software acquisitions and purchases on the government side than hardware at this point?
Yeah, so great question. So it seems that it's very clear that government agencies, they see data and IT as foundational. So even if budgets are tight, those investments are really viewed as necessary to keep operations up and running and to prepare for future capability. So data, software, integration products, they typically require less capital than, new platforms that can be layered onto existing systems. So it just makes it easier when you're looking at data, you're looking at software, it makes it easier to justify and approve and move forward with quickly.
Okay, so for the autonomy companies out there, how does leading one's pitch, if you will, with data or workflow change the conversation with some of these agencies?
Yeah, so it really just shifts the discussion from what does your platform do to how does this help make decisions faster or complete the mission faster? Agencies respond really well to companies that are focused on how the data flows, how systems integrate, and how users are actually interacting with that technology. So framing it in that way just helps align better with how agencies are looking at buying things right now.
Yeah, very cool. And in terms of AI, very specifically, how does that fit into this bigger software picture? Is it a hot commodity like we would expect based on what we're seeing on the show floor here and what we're hearing, or not?
Yeah, absolutely. AI is absolutely a priority. Again, just like you see on the show floor, it's everywhere. But it's being approached much more thoughtfully. So agencies are less interested in this standalone, AI and really more focused on practical trusted applications that are tied into data quality, security, and mission outcomes. So AI that's embedded into workflows and supports decision making. It's much easier to advance than AI that's, positioned as just a shiny add-on to something else.
Yeah, lots of buzzwords floating around, Lacey, like on the edge, on-prem, anticipatory, or AI. So lots going on in this field, and it continues to evolve and learn and grow, which is really interesting. But when autonomy and geospatial companies are talking to any government agency, what would you suggest they include in their messaging, whether they're pitching software, whether they're pitching hardware, or both?
Yeah, so I think it's really important that companies should emphasize that mission alignment, integration, and really focus on the outcomes. So, messaging that shows how the solution fits into an existing environment, how it reduces risk, or how it's supporting current priorities is landing a lot better than a broad narrative. So, really being focused on a clear value proposition matters more than it ever has in the past.
So, conversely, what have you seen that companies do wrong?
So a common mistake that we've seen is just it's making that assumption that agencies are going to fund big net new ideas without a clear path or a clear path to implementation. So some companies are also starting to understand just how important the contracting vehicles are, the partnerships are, and just the timing in this environment. So just relying on being technically strong, it's not enough to rely on that with how agencies are actually buying. There's a lot more to it these days.
Yeah, well, you guys are the experts in this, and I'm sure you have your own like mental checklist, if you will, of how to get things right in this space. So, at a high level, can you kind of give us that checklist so the people out there that are looking to do business with the government have an idea of, all right, here's the right way that I need to do things?
Yeah. So at a high level, again, that focus on really understanding the mission and focusing on the outcome, knowing the funding source. So how are they buying? Where's the funding actually coming from? Aligning to existing contracts, which again, Carahsoft has a number of contracts that help support our customers and help them buy easier. Leading with the outcome of what the technology is going to do. And again, just being realistic about timeframes. Like again, while we're still seeing it move faster than ever, it's there's some typical government timelines that we have to be realistic as well. So companies really they need to do their homework. They need to meet with agencies. They need to understand the customers and put that extra effort in so that at the end of the day, we can all help agencies move a little bit faster, even in constrained conditions.
Okay. And again, since this is the 2026 look ahead theme, when budgets finally do open up and shake loose a little bit, what areas do you expect to rebound first?
Yeah, so I think looking at areas that are tied to data integration, autonomy enablement, and operational scaling are going to rebound really quickly. So, programs there's a lot of programs too that weren't necessarily delayed, or programs that were already defined. I think we'll see that those will move faster than some of these brand new initiatives once the funding clarity improves a little bit.
Okay, excellent. And who is positioned, do you think, to benefit when all of this happens?
Yeah, so any company that, has innovative technology, but companies that are really staying engaged, they're supporting their existing customers, and just making that investment into the integration and the partnerships during this time are going to be the best position to benefit. Agencies are going to remember who helped them navigate the uncertainty. Like I know I heard one of the speakers on the main stage this week who even talked about, hey, it's been a tough year, it's been a tough time, and just showing their appreciation for industry and for those partners who were there to support them and continue to help them navigate through that. It brings a lot of value, and again, they don't forget that.
No, look, relationships matter. That I tell my kids that all the time. They matter in life and business. So I think that's really, really key. bottom line, in terms of companies seeking to do business with government agencies at this time, what would you tell them?
Yeah. So bottom line is, despite some challenges and changes, the bottom line is that the government hasn't stopped buying. It's just a little bit more selective. So I'll say it again, but companies that are really focused on that mission impact, the adaptability, and like you said, on those long-term relationships, those are the companies that are going to continue to find opportunity, even in a constrained environment as things change.
Well, I think it makes a lot of sense, honestly, when you look at let's just say FIFA World Cup as one example. If you have tech that is relevant to the cities that will be hosting those events, now is the perfect time to move forward. We've covered this on Autonomy Global, actually. We had an article discussing this and kind of highlighted Airspace Link as one of those many companies that are kind of in this space looking to kind of make their mark in 2026. Lacey, as you look ahead and you look across your portfolio, and your portfolio is broad, by the way, for everybody out there, please mention all the different areas besides autonomy robotics that you're dabbling in there at Carahsoft. Which kind of tranches are you the most excited for this year?
Oh wow, everything, Dawn. But no, we are dabbling. We're not even just dabbling. We're fully ingrained in a lot of areas.
Yes.
That are really complementary to this autonomy and robotic space. So we've got a very robust AI portfolio. We've got a massive cyber business with hundreds of companies focused on cybersecurity, national security, infrastructure security that we work with. We've got companies in the 5G space that tie really well into this. We've got hardware companies, defense tech, so many areas that we pull together to really help create these comprehensive end-to-end solutions.
Yeah, let's not forget geospatial. Yeah, well, and space, right? I remember just this week, Lacey, you were telling me you were speaking with somebody and they didn't even realize you guys have a huge space line of effort. And, so that's a great segue, I think, to talk a little bit about, where people can find Carahsoft out there in these different sectors, at the different events that highlight these technologies. So as I think ahead, I know I'm going to GeoBiz next week. You guys support me in that effort. That's going to be in Denver. But then next up is Geo Week, and you guys will actually have a presence there, if I recall correctly.
Yes, we will. So you can find us at most of the industry relevant large and small industry shows. So coming up in February, we do have Geo Week out in Denver. So we'll have a significant presence there. We'll have a booth. So stop by and meet the team, stop by and see them if you're there. We've also got a massive presence at AFCEA West, also coming up in February out in San Diego. Those are two big events that we're really excited about going into the new year. And then looking a little bit farther out, again, a number of space events, Space Symposium, the GeoIn Symposium in Aurora, Colorado in May, Soft Week in Tampa in May. So lots of things on the books where you can easily find us at these events. We post a lot of events and things going on LinkedIn or on our website. So if you connect with me, you'll see it. You'll see where we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And even when Carahsoft doesn't have a booth, oftentimes I'll be venturing out as if you guys didn't know, I am a consultant to Carahsoft, and so I'll be out there. Also at the AFA Warfare Symposium, that's going to be in Denver in February. So right now that's kind of on my whiteboard, and we got drone responders in March, right? The big national conference that they hold every year. Super excited about that because you guys have a huge public safety line of effort as well. And George Vitt, your consultant in that space, is here. We went out with George the other night. It's his birthday, by the way, this week. So if you know him, say happy birthday. Let's see what else. Oh, can't forget about AUVSI Exponential. Carahsoft will have a presence there. They every year support Law Tech Connect. It's our 5th annual. We're going to have so many awesome panels, and we changed up the format this year to be a 2-day event across Wednesday and Thursday with a happy hour Wednesday night. Carahsoft is a scholar sponsor and will be supporting that happy hour as well. So lots going on. You're going to see a lot of weird eyeball or other hotel backgrounds from me on this show as I travel on average 1 to 2 weeks a month. But for you personally, Lacey, you know, and for Carahsoft and the company going forward, you've got a very busy year ahead. As you look ahead, what are you, you know, kind of anticipating? What are you the most excited about?
Oh, for me, I'm okay. So May is always like I think one of my most exciting months of the year. Um, and traveling both to the GeoInt Symposium and Soft Week. Really excited about both of those events. I think GeoInt this year is you know, it's last year was I think one of the best years with some of the content and just some of the great speakers that they had. It's shaping up to be a really exciting year again with some of the speakers that we've got a new director of NGA, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, who is confirmed as a keynote. So I think it's going to be really exciting to hear from her on the main stage for the first time at the symposium. We also do a little bit of a sneak peek in April. So stay tuned if you're looking to hear more there. And then, yeah, with Soft Week's always a really exciting week. Every other year, in the international years, they do their big demo out on the water. And it's just really incredible to see that like the capability and the technology that they bring into it. So
Yeah, I
very
feel like, you know, if I was going to make a parallel, Soft Week is like the CES for the DoD
yeah,
because, you know, it like really takes up the whole city of Tampa, and, you know, the intense focus on, you know, industry and vendor partnerships and the demos and all the things you're talking about. I mean, clearly they don't have a sphere there, right? It's not as going to be as spectacular, but demos on the Tampa Bay, pretty awesome, I have to say. I was there last year for the first time. All right, so public safety, lots of viewers from that space, Lacey. Lots of folks looking to do business with the government. You know, how can they tap into? Let's focus on the sellers. Let's focus on the industry partners that want to sell to government agencies. How do they partner with you to
yeah.
do that?
Love that question. So we are always very excited to take on new partnerships and really look forward to meeting with companies that have that innovative technology and are looking to get into the government or looking to expand their existing business. To get in touch with us, I'll say the simplest way is to go to our website. So it's carahsoft.com. And if you go to carahsoft.com/partners, we have a form that you fill out and someone will ask you a couple questions. Someone will get back to you very quickly. To set up that initial introduction call and talk about there's a lot of unique ways that we can partner together and support every partner and their customized go-to-market strategy and just helping to grow and scale that approach to the government market. So definitely reach out to us if you're interested.
Well, and you know, I think the successful businesses realize that sales and marketing do go hand in hand. And that is something I want to kind of emphasize too with regards to Carahsoft is it's not just about getting access to all of these contract vehicles, and it's not just NASPO that Lacey mentioned. We've had Lacey, we've had Lauren, Regiek on the show before. I've had multiple articles across Autonomy Global about their model. But you know, Omnia, which is another state kind of, let's say, umbrella contract vehicle, they're on that. They're on GSA, right? Like the NASA SEWP, SEWP. The list goes on and on and on. So, but it's not just about the vehicles. It's also about when they go to Soft Week, how many, I feel like you guys had like 63 AI companies that you brought with you last year.
Yeah, that sounds about right, Dawn. We have many of our partners that participate in these events with us. So if you've seen us at a show, you'll see we like to go, we like to make a big splash. So we'll have a portion of the show floor. You'll usually see blue carpet and a big Carahsoft pavilion sign. But we kind of create this experience in this area where all of our partners can be there and be together. And I think it makes a massive impact. But for For any of our partner companies, we have a number of opportunities on how to get involved and how to participate in those events with us. So whether it's you have a booth or you have a demo kiosk in our booth, or you're participating in like an executive briefing series, a lunch and learn, or sponsoring our receptions. We throw some really fun parties. So there's tons of opportunities on how you can get involved and again, how you can kind of make the most impact at those events.
Yeah, I mean, for like, I know you have an entire team dedicated to Oracle as one example, but for a startup that wants to showcase at one of these events, but maybe can't afford their own booth, this is a great opportunity, quite frankly. Let's flip over to the other side of the coin, if you will, Lacey. If I am a government buyer, whether I'm the Department of Interior on the federal side, as one example, on the United States Army, I am, let's just say, a police agency in Austin, Texas, and I'm looking to access technology, how do I work with you?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we really value all of our customer relationships. We probably work with most government agencies, so it's likely that you're working with us today, but reaching out to us to, hey, let's find a time to meet and talk about, okay, what are your requirements? What are you looking to solve in your mission? And we can help bring that technology in and introduce you to the appropriate companies. We can set up demos, we can offer, pilot programs, demo license, lots of different things to get you familiar and make agencies aware of, hey, here's the technology that's out there, here's the art of the possible, and let's figure out what's going to work for you and your formula on what you need.
I love that. The art of the possible. Maybe that's a great tagline for 2026 as we look ahead. It's all about the art of the possible, and hopefully, Lacey, for the autonomy and drone and robotics community, space, all of it, this is going to be a big year. We've got a number of things in the pipeline, from the Part 108 rule that needs to be finalized hopefully soon. Right? We've got the Safer Skies Act, and how is that going to be implemented? And even where there are some constraints like this FCC ruling, there are exemptions, and what is that process, and ultimately how is that going to look? So lots of movement, kind of on the regulatory side that could impact the technology side this coming year. Lots of big events coming to keep that industry talking to each other, talking to the various stakeholders. Going to be really exciting. So, Lacey, we only have a couple minutes left. I want to cede the floor to you for any concluding remarks you have before we close out the session.
Yeah, thank you, Dawn. And again, I appreciate you having me here on the podcast again. Yeah, I think is, really just, focusing on, again, building those relationships, maintaining that consistency, and focusing on how you can best support the government, best support your customers, and help them with those really driven outcomes. Stay engaged in every way possible, because I think, again, it goes a long way and makes a big impact.
Yeah, absolutely. Mission first. I mean, put that on your whiteboard, everybody, and know what that mission is. Pitch to that mission, build to that mission, and you should be all right. And then, of course, if you partner with Carahsoft, you tap into all the relationships they've already built over the last, how many years?
22. Just started
22 years, 22 billion. So there you go. So the magic number is 22 for Carahsoft this year. Probably going to actually be bigger by the end of the year. It's awesome. And all right, so how can people reach you, Lacey? How can they learn more about Carahsoft?
Yeah, so follow Carahsoft on LinkedIn and other social media sites. You can also check out our website. And then me personally, I'm also very active on LinkedIn. So give me a follow, and I'd love to connect.
Awesome. So everybody out there, Happy New Year again, 2026. Looking forward to this year. We are looking ahead in this show, but also the rest of the shows for this particular month, thanks to Carahsoft. Tune in next week. We have Car Shack drones out of India. I met them at the Commercial UAV Expo. Carahsoft was there with me. And they have this really cool drone called the Shark Hawk. No kidding. So check it out and put it on your calendar now. And by the way, this week isn't even over. And tomorrow we'll be streaming Autonomy Global Network live from CES. You're going to hear some first impressions from the show floor. I'm going to give you a little preview. Robots, everybody, robots, and of course, AI. So more to follow there. But thank you again, Lacey. Please extend our gratitude and appreciation to Craig as well. Thank all of you for joining in. And that is all she wrote for today. We are out here.